Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm here with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm going to be using the beautiful whimsical collection for this page today. I've been eyeballing this gorgeous circle scalloped paper. It's number 23, and I think it is gorgeous as is, but I was in the mood to fussy cut, and so I'm going to cut all of these scallops out. It actually didn't take as long as I thought it would, but I had an idea and I wanted to run with it. I wanted to sort of create scallop shaped banners kind of just floating from one side of my page to the other at, kind of just different angles and create a background like that. And so that is what I was thinking as I started cutting these out. And now they're all done through the magic of editing. Now I'm going to use a white cardstock background, and I'm just going to start to play around. I'm going to kind of show you my thought process and how this winds up changing. But I kind of wanted to do rainbow order and start with, the reddish pinks at the top and then flow into the lighter pinks, oranges, corals, yellows, and so on and so forth. And this is just kind of the thought process of how one idea totally changes into something else. And this is the photo that I'm going to use. It's a picture of my youngest daughter from a few years ago, and she was laying on a pillow on the living room floor playing with her little abacus. It's the little thing with all the beads on it. And I just thought it was a cute angle. I was behind her, and I like how she had it propped up on her stomach, and she was just watching TV and playing with it. And I love the colors in the beads. They're kind of a rainbow effect. And then she has on a pinkish purple shirt. And so all the colors in these scallops are going to match the colors in the photo really well. So I am going to do some things to my background. Shocker, I know, but I'm using some clear gesso here just to kind of prep the paper, and it's going to allow all of my colors of inks or sprays or whatever I'm going to use, it's going to allow it to blend and smudge really nicely. So I figured out where I wanted my picture to go, and I lightly traced it because I wanted to use this Seedless Preserves Distress Oxide kind of as a layer behind my picture. And so I just kind of lightly smudged the ink pad right onto the paper and then spritzed it with water. And you can see how beautiful those Distress Oxides react with water. They're just gorgeous. I love it. And then that's my acrylic stamping block that I just kind of use to smush the color around a little bit more. And so this is kind of my starting point. It's a pretty bold color, but I'm just going to work with it here. I'm going to add in some shimmers, and I'm going to add in some yellows and some blues. Just try to get some of the colors that I've got in those scallops. And I actually don't wind up using all the scallops, but I do use most of them. And this looks like a terrible hot mess. I know. It's just like, what is she doing? Just slapping down some color. And that's basically all I'm doing here. When I know that I'm going to cover up a lot of the background, it's okay if it looks messy, because you're not going for perfection here. You're just going for kind of color detail, I guess you could say. And you'll see what I'm talking about as I go. I'm not worried about this looking perfect because you're not going to see a lot of it. So I thought this looked kind of bold. A lot of the colors was a little too, I don't know, I just didn't want it to be too dark. And so I'm just going to kind of go over it with a little bit of white gesso there and just soften things up a bit, especially the pink, because it was really, really bright. And I like how that looks. It's a little more subtle and subdued, and you're going to be able to see everything just sort of pop off of the background. So I'm going to start to build everything. The background's pretty much finished, and you can kind of see there where my picture is going to go. And then I'm going to come back with the scallops again and just sort of try to rebuild the banners, kind of going from the left side to the right side, and then kind of at another angle going from side to side, and just sort of like banners hang, from whatever they're hanging from. But I just could not get it like I envisioned it in my mind. I don't know why. I just felt kind of uncoordinated here. I kept trying to make all the banners, and now that I'm looking at it, I think it looks kind of cute, but I don't know. I just couldn't get them to curve the right way. And it might be because the scallops themselves have kind of a little curve. They're not completely flat. And so the nature of them is to curve up. And you can kind of see there how, I don't know, it just looked kind of wonky. it did not look as cute as I thought it was going to. So I'm going to take everything off. I'm going to change my mind. I'm still using all the scallops, but the design's just going to change, and that's okay. And, you know, sometimes that's the fun part about designing your own pages, or, you know, fussy cutting things out and trying to make your own shapes or your own designs from existing things, is that whatever you thought it was going to look like, you didn't like it, you know? It looks like one thing in your mind, and then when you see it in person, you're like, I don't like this. And it's perfectly fine to change it. And so that's what happened here. I was really excited about the banners, but then I decided, well, what happens if I just kind of make straight rows? And I actually like how that looked a lot better for this particular page. And so I lightly traced some lines, and then I'm just going to bring all the scallops back and create rows sort of in rainbow order here. And I like how that looks because it mimics the beads in the picture on her little abacus there. I felt like, you know, the beads are obviously complete circles and these are half circles, but I still like the way it mimics the shape. And I like how that looks a lot better. It looks a little more ordered, and it actually looks like the abacus, kind of. You know, everything's in a row and everything's in kind of rainbow order. And I was happy how that turned out. So I'm going to lightly glue down the flatter edge of all of these scallops because I want the curved edges to kind of ruffle up off the page, and it's going to create lots of fun dimension. So everything's glued down. I like how that looks. It's a little more ordered, still messy. And here's an example of what I was talking about earlier. Remember how the background looked like a hot mess? You see how much of it's covered up right now. You can't even tell that it was a hot mess because a lot of it is not even visible. But the whole object of me doing that was so you could see it peeking through the rows of scallops, and I really like how that looks. And so if you make a background like that and you think this is so ugly, this is just a hot mess and it's just ugh, keep working at it, because when you put things back on top of it, like your papers and your photos and your embellishments, it looks totally different. So don't let a messy background intimidate you, and don't throw it away because it can be saved. I hope that makes sense. So I decided to add some white splatters here, and that's just some cheap white acrylic paint watered down, and I'm just using my brush to flick it around. If you want bigger splatters, load up the brush with paint and water and hold it up higher, and then run your fingers down the bristles and you'll get a bigger splatter. Now I let everything dry. Here I'm just showing you that I did some stitching. I used white thread, and there you can see what I was talking about by ruffling up the scallops. So all the rows are stitched down, and I'm going to leave some of the loose threads hanging off on the end. So they still do kind of represent banners hanging. They're just not kind of sagging down banners. They're straight banners. So I added a little bit of pattern paper behind the photo, as well as some tissue paper, and that's a rainbow striped paper from the 6x6 whimsical paper pad. And then I used that little heart circle that I just cut out is from one of the 2x2 paper pads. And then I went through the ephemera, and I'm going to go through the chipboard stickers, the sticker book, the regular stickers, and kind of just embellish tone on tone here. I'm going to put some little yellow things on the yellow strip, some blue things on the blues, so on and so forth. I'm going to use hearts, I'm going to use some leaves, some butterflies, some little phrase and word stickers, some little chipboard buttons. I really wasn't looking for a specific shape. I was mainly just going for something that matched. And I'm going to use that little "You Are Awesome" sticker as my title. There was a little bit of an open space right there next to her leg in the photo. It was perfect for overlapping a sticker or an embellishment. And so I felt like that was perfect because, you know, this is just a cute moment in time of her playing with a toy, and I wanted to document it. But it's not something that requires, you know, a well thought out or really big or long title. And, you know, if I really wanted to use a big title, I think the only place that I could put it would be to the right of the photo, above the very first pink line of scallops. And I kind of wanted to leave that open. I didn't want to jam that up. So I thought the smaller title worked well. And it has all the rainbow colors in it. And so, you know, it goes with the rainbow color scheme here. Now here is another pattern paper that I'm going to cut some things out of. That is paper number 6, and it's got a bunch of fun little images on it. You name it, it's on there. There's butterflies, and so I'm going to cut a couple of those out just to continue with my tone on tone. And I'm going to add some foam to these little loose butterflies that I'm adding just to give a little bit more dimension in several places. I also use some rub-ons here, and I'm going to stick those on here and there. There are a lot of really fun little like stitched designs on here, like little X's or crosses and little almost like V-shaped stitches. I don't know what all these... I'm not a professional sewing machine user, so I just kind of call it like I see it. I don't know what the correct term for these stitches are, but if you've seen the rub-ons, you know what I'm talking about. There's some, it just looks like you stitched down on your page, but it's a rub-on. And so I kind of, again, went color coordinated here. There's also some cute little phrases, butterflies, stars, border shapes, all kinds of fun little things. And so these are just adding some really tiny details that you'll be able to see better in the close-ups. And I really like how this is looking, or really liking how this is looking. Now I'm going to add in some more thread. Of course, I already have the thread that I stitched with, but I wanted to add some more under the photo. So I'm going to try to match the pinkish purple color that I've got there in the background. And so that's the thread color that I'm going to use. It also matches her shirt. And I'm going to tuck the same color over on the right. And this just adds some texture, it's going to add some color, and just going to kind of add to the whole messy, whimsy feel to the background. Again, I'm going to cut another butterfly out. I felt like I needed a little bit something more on the yellow area, and so when all else fails, fussy cut a butterfly, right? I think there's been butterflies in all of Paige's collections, or darn near all of them, and I am not mad about it because I love me some butterflies. And yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of thread. Again, that's matching kind of a golden yellow color there underneath that little butterfly. And then I'm going to add some purple thread down at the very bottom. Even though that butterfly is already stuck down, I'm going to make it work. And I get asked a lot about the thread I use. It's nothing special or expensive. It's from Walmart. It's just your basic sewing thread. I think the brand is Coats. They're like $2.27 a spool. And, you know, every time I go into Walmart, I buy 1 or 2 spools of thread, just depending on what color I don't have or what color I'm out of. But yeah, it's just, you know, I try to collect them little by little. And that's how I have so many. Thank goodness they're not that expensive. And yeah. Anyway, I'm going to add a little cluster of hearts above the photo there. Some of those are from the sticker book from Whimsical. Everything that I've used here today is from the new Whimsical collection. It's full of rainbow colors. It is so, so pretty. I love it. Chipboard stickers. I decided to add another word here. This is not really a title, but it says play, and it's kind of a golden color. It doesn't really... you know, it's not really one of the rainbow colors, but I like how it looks right there above the yellow. And I felt like it added another word to the layout. And I did want to add some journaling, and I'm going to do it right at the bottom. Use my T-square ruler. I got that from Joann online. It was only a couple dollars, and I love that thing. I use it pretty much on every layout because I'm a crooked journaler for sure. So last thing I'm going to do is add in some Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine because you need some gold, right? Anyway, there's the final layout. I love how this turned out. Even though it turned out different than my original plan, I still love it. It's very hard to create something you don't love with Whimsical because it is just all so gorgeous. And yeah, it's beautiful. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions about any of the techniques or the products or anything at all. I will be more than happy to answer you guys. So thank you so, so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great day.